Yeah, the accuracy on XRP today was crazy.
It's nuts, bro. I could not imagine being a freaking crypto investor and not having access to these levels. Let's roll over to the accurate level to level updates on XRP. I'm going to keep showing the world that these dark pools do not freaking lie. It is absolutely insanity that we have these levels before the retail crowd. We're the only community on the face of the internet with access to these levels. Shout out to Institutional Scalper, and more people have got to wake up, especially in this new era of finance, to this type of software. Because imagine when we're either long-term investors or day traders and price goes into price discovery mode and we're all wondering where we're going to take profit from. Well, we know in this community where large resting sell orders and iceberg orders sit, where large institutional players are sitting with sell volume at, right? And so here is the excuse me, here's one of the latest updates just to kind of show you guys when I take these posts and I put them on the charts where the information gets put out. So I said XRP is back above $1.07943. We're going to take a look as well at some levels to be mindful of in the coming days ahead. But XRP is trading at $1.07943. And as long as we can see buyers turn this into support by trapping sellers and becoming aggressive, this opens the door for a bullish move back into $1.18 to $1.36 as our next bullish hurdles. No overextension, no outrageous, price targets. And this is from July 2nd, 2026 at 6:56 a.m. All right. So if we come over to the charts, we're going to go over today how we could have caught the delta held formation on the lower time frame and the reaction from previous New York session areas of interest at the $1.11 threshold today in just a second. But if we come over here to that post, here you can see copying that post and putting it on the TradingView charts. I posted this on Thursday, July 2nd at 6:56 a.m. prior to the move. So you can see, just like I said in my analysis, now that XRP is back above $1.07943 dark pool, as long as we can see buyers turn this into support by trapping sellers and becoming aggressive, it opens the door for $1.18 to $1.36. You can see shortly after I posted that, we saw sellers get trapped at $1.07943. Now, it again, it would be like coincidence if I just said $1.07, right? Because anybody could say price comes into $1.07 and then boom, I told you so, right? No, look at the specific characters after $1.07, $1.07943. If we come into the Discord and we come up into the XRP analysis section, we can see that those were the exact dark pools that Scalper gave well in advance, 107,943 on June 25th, 2026. So days in advance, right? Once we retested that, we saw the same exact analysis. I said trapping sellers. So we see trapped seller right at the new daily candlestick open, and then buyers becoming aggressive. Buyers then became aggressive, and we started printing bullish order flow. And the first bullish targets I mentioned were $1.18, and we can see the price went straight from $1.07943 into $1.18 to the freaking point. So dark pool to dark pool. So, upon the profit taking event that we saw yesterday, excuse me, 2 New York sessions ago, this was Saturday's price action. We pulled back straight down into the $1.11 dark pool from $1.18 back down into $1.11, where today's New York session saw some buying opportunities from the $1.11 dark pool. So, how in the CYPRX community using the 2.0 methodologies and the dark pools could we have caught this bullish move? So, first, identifying first that we are in a bullish environment. Remember from previous video breakdowns on the higher time frame, 8 hour and above, we had mentioned when we were trading down here at this base that as long as buyers can defend this base and we can reclaim $1.07943 and start to break above these previous bearish lower highs over to the left-hand side, that the path of least resistance is going to start to become the dark pools to the upside to see if sellers can defend them, right? And so from that bias coming into today's session, knowing that we're trading above $1.07, we're now trading above the EMAs on the 8 hour time frame, right? So remember, keep in mind, just like how on NASDAQ, I try to tell you guys, trade in tandem with the dark pools, trade in tandem with the order flow of the EMAs. So think about it. If we're above a previous base where sellers were trapped, we're above dark pools, and we're above EMAs on the 8 hour time frame, that gives us the green light on the lower time frame when price comes into previous discounts where buyers were aggressive from to start to look for buy scalps. So now we can drop down to the hourly chart and we can start to pay. Actually, no, we'll go down to we'll do the 30-minute because you can see New York sessions better. So we know also in this community, if you've gone through the 2.0 content, that market makers like to buy or defend price where previous market makers bought or defended price at. So sure enough, if we come back to Friday's price action, where New York session buyers, this stuff is just not a coincidence. Friday's New York session, we can see bullish order flow. Right prior to the New York session at 8:30 a.m., you can see sellers got trapped at highs. Buyers sellers, attempted to test the strength of the buyers prior to the New York session. We retested $1.11, trapped sellers, buyers then became aggressive. So if we were to highlight this last down move during New York session, that led from the trade from dark pool to dark pool, and we were to extend that area of interest out to the right-hand side as a key area where if buyers are going to defend a previous level where New York session traders bought from, this would have been one of those key AOIs. So today, upon the revisitation of that level during today's New York session, we now have a higher time frame bias, saying to ourselves that on the 8-hour time frame, we're bullish, we're above dark pools, we're also above EMAs. On the 30-minute time frame now coming into this New York session, we would have had all this information to analyze. Even though now this is hindsight, this is what New York session's price action coming into today's open looked like. We had 8-hour bias. We had the analysis from the post that I put out to you guys days in advance, where as long as we're trading above $1.07943, then the path of least resistance remains $1.18 to $1.36, right? We have previous AOIs where buyers were defending, trapping sellers, and becoming aggressive at during a specific New York session. And now today, during New York session, on the higher time frame, 30-minute, we have come back down now into this area, which gives us now the green light to drop down to the 1-minute time frame to look for the delta held patterns, which is price coming into an AOI. So keep this in mind. Here's our 15-minute or 30-minute AOI. Higher time frame bullish that we know. We're looking for bearish price action on the lower time frame to come into this AOI. Once we see price on the lower time frames come into this higher time frame AOI, we're looking for a bullish reaction that breaks two previous bearish structures, which then gives us the green light on the lower time frame to take a fib from the low or the last low that then liquidates previous lows and creates new structure highs, giving us R1, R2, which opens the door for us to take a fib from that low to the high to wait for a pullback into the 3 to give us the delta held formation, where we can then go in upon the retest of the 3 and look for buy scalps, right? So sure enough, having all this information in mind, once we see New York session at 8:30 a.m. open, we can drop down now to the 1-minute chart to see and wait for that confirmation. So here we can see the start of the delta held formation. We can see the last low that's created right prior to the New York session. Here's that low right here. That sweeps liquidity, has a bullish reaction from the dark pool, has a bullish reaction from the 15 and 30-minute AOI, which is this gray box, and breaks all previous bearish structure. Lower highs broken, and breaks above the 50 EMA. So this bullish move breaks above the 50 EMA, breaks previous bearish price action, has a bullish reaction from higher time frame AOIs, and now we start to see a pullback coming into the meat of New York session. So here would have been our 1. This is where we would take our fib from the low to the high, or R2, and we can wait to enter into price upon the retest of at least a 62 to 79% retracement during New York session, giving us a good risk to reward. So right now we're operating at a 50% retracement. We're going to wait. We're going to see if price can come into at least 62% before we execute a trade. And if it does, we could have executed a nice buy position. So there's the retest of at least 70 to 66% retracement. There would have been a good sound confluence to enter in for a nice buy scalp, stop loss beneath the dark pool, or at least beneath the 1. And you could have simply targeted the most immediate structure high, the 50% extension, the 100% extension, or previous session highs as your take profit one areas, and the next dark pool at $1.18 leaving a runner on your trade after the first TP is hit for price to come into the dark pool. So take profit one is going to be the most immediate session highs. Take profit two and leaving a runner on the trade is going to be $1.18. And sure enough, we had a beautiful buy delta held formation during New York session today. Price continued, respected the dark pool, continued with the overall bullish volume, and we had a phenomenal retracement back up into the session highs, with take profit one being completely smashed out. That's then when you could have secured some partials, taken this trade out in full, and started to protect and preserve capital, right? So literally dark pool, New York session dark pool to New York session dark pool, and prior to that, New York session dark pool up into New York session dark pool. You would think, right? All the freaking XRP content on the internet right now with all the price predictions and all the bullish Moonboy stuff, time and time again, this community shows you that it's not this hopium that is in control of XRP's price action. XRP and USD is a traded pair that is 110% controlled by market makers trading XRP, right? And so this is physical proof that that still exists to this day. I don't believe it's going to change anytime soon. Even if we were to see full-scale utility of XRP, we're still probably going to see those dark pools that we know sit at $4.17, $5.44, all those dark pools that were pulled up, months ago via our software. When we see price go into those levels, guarantee you we're going to see some form of profit taking or some form of defense from sellers that sit there with large resting orders in the market. So I could not imagine heading into this new era of finance without these levels of, accuracy. And so with that being said, right now, considering that we had a nice bullish reaction and we had buyers defend the $1.11 threshold after having turned $1.07 into support on the higher time frame now, as long as buyers can continue to defend $1.11 and keep price now that we've had a triple moving average crossover and the EMAs start to act as support, as long as we can see buyers hold price above $1.11, that is going to open up the door for higher prices on XRP, coming in between at least $1.20, briefly breaking back above $1.18, where we're likely to see these aggressive sellers that broke previous support and trapped buyers try to defend. And if we can break above $1.20 and turn $1.18 into support, that is going to open up the door for the next most immediate bullish hurdle, which is going to be anywhere between $1.29 and $1.36. But we need to see, now that we've seen a formal attempt by buyers to break above $1.18, and we can see clear as day that there is a passive seller defending $1.18, we need to see that momentum broken. So we need to see a new high above $1.18. And then just like we saw on $1.07, so for example, here, you can see it, buyers broke the sellers that were passively defending the $1.07 mark here. They then retested $1.07 and trapped those sellers. That same exact pattern that we see here at this dark pool, we need to see it here at the $1.18. So if we can see that, that is going to open up the door for a much better recovery on XRP, coming up into at least $1.29 to $1.36 as our next targets. If we can't see that, under the bearish scenario, we see sentiment worsen. Maybe on Wednesday, Fed Chair Walsh comes out more hawkish than anticipated, and we start to see sell volume pick up. If we start to break back beneath the EMAs, we trade back below $1.11. I would say that the last line of defense for buyers is going to be at that $1.07 threshold. As long as we're above $1.07, I think that the bullish thesis is still intact. But at any point in time, we break bearish below $1.07 and we start to see sellers trap buyers and start to turn it into resistance. That is going to open up the door for a much deeper retracement on XRP down into 91 cents. We're a far stretch away from that right now. I personally think that the path of least resistance is the buy scenarios. But again, being realistic, we need to see buyers trap sellers at $1.18 and turn it into support before we can expect any higher prices. Then, of course, just in case we do see XRP go into any type of formal price discovery or much better bullish recovery, Scalper just updated the DCA deltas and the scalp deltas as well. So right now, the highest sell delta that we can see on the charts is anywhere between $2.56 and $1.54. And then in terms of scalp deltas, we have $1.77 as the highest level dark pool right now on our radar. So lots of resistance to break above for buyers to overcome and take price into higher territory. But nonetheless, let's see what unfolds right now. The most immediate three sell dark pools are $1.18 and $1.36. You can see those here, right? So let's see what happens in the coming days ahead. We have FOMC on Wednesday, unemployment claims on Thursday, and then I don't think anything else the rest of the week, but we for sure will be paying attention to how the market reacts after Fed Chair Warsh's commentary on Wednesday. Alrighty. So you guys have both updated higher levels and lower levels to be mindful of. Make sure that you guys are updating your dark pools, whether you're Nasdaqians or whether you day trade or invest in crypto. Outside of that, though, that's all that I have for you guys today. If there's any questions or just trade talk you want to commence, I'll leave the floor open. And if not, then blessings to you guys and gals, and I'll see you all in the Discord.